From the Subiaco Oval in Perth, the West Coast Eagles and Carlton in the match of the round.
We'll take a look at the lineups of the teams, and firstly let's take a look at the West Coast Eagles, although there has been an omission and Chris Waterman isn't able to take his place in the side, and Peter Wilson comes in.
And he's joined by Brett Heady, Tony Evans and Ashley McIntosh coming into the side, and that really puts them on a roll, the West Coast Eagles.
A couple of scratchings today for the Carlton lineup. Pearce and Brown are in fact out, and they've been replaced by Diulio and Heaver.
But that aside, Drew, it's still been a very steady lineup for the Carlton Football Club. In fact, 10 players have played all 20 games for the season, and that's a great credit to them.
Here come the premiers, the West Coast Eagles, and with Peter Wilson a last-minute inclusion, it means that now 4 dual premiership players are returning to the mighty Eagles lineup this afternoon, and they're starting to look pretty top-class, Wheels.
Well, that's awesome talent coming back, and particularly last week, I thought they were very good last week, and that first quarter against Melbourne was quite extraordinary, the way in which they opened up. And Carlton there, the other side now, they also had a great first quarter last week, Drew, and I fully expect this first quarter to have something special about it.
Let's take a look at the ladder as it stands at the moment and highlight the positions for Carlton and the Eagles. Carlton on top, they've lost just twice. They're 3 games clear of Essendon and Geelong and 5 games clear of the West Coast Eagles. The Eagles must win today to retain any hope of finishing 4th and getting a home final in the first week of finals coming up in 2 weeks' time. What we're going to do now is to look through the lineups coming down the ground and just get some head-to-head matchups that we might see down the field. And we're going to start firstly with West Coast backs against Carlton forwards. West Coast have the best defence in the competition and Carlton the 3rd best attack.
Well, and you can see why Glenn Jakovich certainly is the cornerstone of that defence, and his strength at centre-half back is quite extraordinary. But the Carlton forward line, Kernahan back last week after 4 weeks out with a hand injury, Rice, Diulio and Heaver coming in this afternoon also, gives them quite a potent look there, and it'll be the smalls in the Carlton forward line that I think will trouble the West Coast Eagles defence more than anything.
And Jakovich, what an Adonis, and there he is, today playing his 81st game straight. He's just indestructible.
He's been quite incredible for such a young man to have done the amount of things that he has done. 93 and last year in the Best and Fairest Awards, been top 2 twice now. But it's the midfield, as in most games in this day and age, Drew, that the key is really held. Main Waring and Materia really now starting to run into some form. And Kemp, the ever-reliable winner in there, both in tackling and winning possessions. He's been a tremendous player there. But gee, the strength of Carlton. We've spoken about Craig Bradley. 7 out of the 9 years he's been in the top 3 best and fairest at Carlton, and actually has won 3 of them. And then the Brownlow medalist from last year, Greg Williams. Tremendous talent there. And Ratton, one of the unsung heroes, whether doing a defensive job or when he's given a free rein, can be a very attacking player.
And there he is, Brett Ratton. He's actually had plenty of time in the centre this year for the Blues, with Williams not playing there 100% of the time going forward. And Ratton has had a very, very good season in year 1995. And the umpires in charge today, Andrew Coates, number 6. And number 7 is Hayden Kennedy, so a bit of experience there. And the 3rd umpire is number 10, Brett Allen. And we can welcome this afternoon Kevin Bartlett, who was down to present the Channel 7 Cup for the curtain raiser, and the captain of the winning side is about to toss the coin out there, KB.
Yes, that's Brad Potsy, captain of South Avon, who defeated Mazenod in the Channel 7 Cup. So what a great moment it is for that youngster, with Stephen Kernahan and also Johnny Worsfold. So it looks like Stephen Kernahan has won the toss.
Umpire Andrew Coates gets us underway in the game between 1st and 5th at Subiaco Oval. And Madden wins the first tap. Williams gets the second hand of the ball and flips it out. Matera grabs it for the Eagles, and the home side first into attack, where Gehrig takes the mark at half forward for the Eagles. Being picked up by Koutafidis. Gehrig goes out wide, and already they're finding space with Jakovich coming up from the half-back line. He thumps it to full forward. Chance here for the Eagles. Worsfold at the back. Madden got a boot to the ball. Socket away, and a chance to clear. Ratton gets the hand pass. Christou towards the outer side to Hannah, who's in a 20-metre break.
So Mill Hannah on half-back flank. Even over in Perth, they know how to say woof every time Ange Christou gets the ball. So Bradley, who's been outstanding for the Blues this year, Back to Hannah on the half-back flank. Wonderful crowd and atmosphere here at Subiaco. Brent Heavers coming to the side. Just couldn't take it for the Blues. Lyle keeps the ball in for the Eagles. Back to Evans, also back on the side. Forced over the line on the full. So the ball comes back to Brent Heaver. So no Brad Pearce or Fraser Brown today for the Blues.
Heaver back after a badly broken leg. Kicked by Hannah. Kernahan, middle of the pack. The hand pass comes out from Clappe, and a shot by Camporelli to an open goal square, and it hits the post.
Well, Carlton have been able to rebound that ball very well from deep in defence, being able to generate some run. Camporelli looking to be able to score. He hasn't kicked a goal in the last 8 games, so a player who they'd be looking for to improve that situation here this afternoon.
Big job too, Terry, playing on Matera. So a lot of confidence shown in the first-year player, and the umpire now warns McKenna that he better kick the ball, and finds Mainwaring in the back pocket. Dean Rice on the mark, and that high kick for Mainwaring is an absolute shocker. Out of bounds on the full. So this is the second kick for Mill Hannah, and he finds Greg Williams.
Williams matched to Banfield in the centre.
So Kernahan, Mitchell White is his opponent. Kernahan wants to make a lead. Now it's been honoured by Williams, and chipping in is Rice. This has been one of the great comebacks in league football. 2 major knee operations for Dean Rice. Hasn't seemed to have diminished his pace at all. So the lead's on, but chipping in as Mainwaring couldn't take the mark. DeLulio was the target, kicked off the ground by Williams. Ratton thrown to the ground. Strong play by Metropolis, so the Eagles, for the time being, out of defence.
Sexton charges at the ball hard and centres it. Kernahan caught behind, and that is a courageous mark. He's taken the mark hard and also a bit, but the Carlton man hasn't moved since the clash of bodies.
Well, Kernahan really looks here to take the contest out. The elbow is well tucked in, but then that clash of heads there, I think, has caught the Carlton player.
And Whitehead down for Carlton, and they look as though they're signalling for a stretcher to come on the ground. Meanwhile, Gehrig through the middle for the Eagles. Perfect disposal to Worsfold. The skipper, defender turned forward, marks on the 50. Kicked 11 goals this year, Johnny Worsfold.
Ronnie DiUlio is the Carlton player down, Drew.
Now, the umpire, I think, is going to... I thought he was going to stop the game to allow this player to receive treatment, and I think that is the case. So the mark has just been marked at the 50, and the stretcher indeed is coming out. Well, this is a shocking blow for the Blues early in the game.
I think what we'll see here is the clash of heads just in there. As we can see, was it Hart and DiUlio clashing heads there and going down.
So McKenna has come up on the ground, and is now picking up Clappe, who's a former West Coast Eagle, against his old side, Matt Clappe. Now, a long time ago, Worsfold took a mark on the 50. And so now he's worried by the distance. The man on the mark is 50 out, so he's kicking from about 55. And it's a problem for Johnny Worsfold.
Yeah, he'll look to give this one off, Drew. Generally, after such a long break there, they don't do as well as what they would want to.
Comes in short with Banfield. Well, he's still 50 metres out.
At least they've got the flow going again now, and that was important in that situation.
So Banfield's a bit worried about it too. Gehrig offering a lead. Kutafides coming with him. So Banfield goes for a bit of distance. He's kicked it pretty well, but not quite long enough. It's still there for them. Goal! First goal of the match. Eagles a goal, Carlton a point.
Well, the kick from Drew Banfield really does stretch the Carlton defence, and we'll see Michael Sexton being caught some 5 or 6 metres out from goal, try to knock it through, but wasn't able to get a clean contact with the ball. It fell short, and Kemp was there, as a good rover should be, to clean it up and slot through his first goal.
So Madden wins the tap. Matera with those quick hands. Back to Evans. So the Eagles once more out of the centre. Down towards half forward, looking for Jason Ball. Kicked off the ground by Kemp. In fact, Terry, I think David Parkin may have been a bit disappointed that the Carlton backs didn't try and knock the ball backwards through for a behind rather than punch the ball forward.
Kick by Matera. Gehrig, good mark. Koutafidis is not slow, but Gehrig had a break on him and marks almost right in front, about 40 metres out.
Well, he's 6'5", young Gehrig, and I know the Eagles suggest that he's the fastest player on their list.
This for their second goal. It's a great kick. Good start by the Eagles.
Well, we spoke about in the lead-up about the Eagles' very good start last week against Melbourne, where they kicked 7 goals to 1 in the first quarter, and they've jumped again here. A good piece of play there was that Matera was prepared to wait and hold onto the ball until the right target was presented, and Fraser Gehrig was the one to be able to do that with a strong lead out of the 10-metre square.
Well, the chant goes up very early in the game. They lead by 11 points, the Eagles. Turnbull wins the tap, taken by Williams. Hannah underneath the ball, ground level. Rice trapped it well. Back around the body, chance for Spalding. Comes back to Bradley. And a sensational year, Bradley. Spalding on the boundary line, keeps the ball in, kicks the ball back to 50. Kernahan territory. Goes the punch from behind. Clappe against his old side, not able to trap it. And a ball up 45 metres out from Carlton's goal. Let's go down to Dwayne Lamb on the boundary line.
Thanks very much. Delilio did cop a very heavy knock to the head and still very groggy, so a long while before he comes back on, I'd say, if that.
So punched forward by Guy McKenna. Heavy collision, and a free kick's being paid, and it's going to Dean Rice.
Well, probably got him high, but
it's a tough call, isn't it? They're both down low, and really the collision was there, but it was taken high, and a 50-metre penalty has been awarded here. Taking David Hart, the man on the mark, right back into the goal square.
There was the forearm across the bush, though, I suppose. He made it count. And Rice from point-blank range gets the Blues' first goal. So the Eagles 2 and Carlton 1 goal 1.
And so they get their first goal out of a free kick and a 50-metre penalty. The free kick, both players going down low. Clash was there, but the umpire has decided that the contact was made above the shoulders and rightfully awards the free kick. The 50-metre penalty, I was not sure what that was for, but they got it.
So Madden to Bradley. Quick kick and Spalding takes a slips catch. So important to the mobility of the Carlton forward line. Kicks down, we see Koutafidis down there. Here's a chance for Clappe against his old side. Will he get a kind bounce? He has. Well, Matt Clappe played 29 games with the Eagles and has been a very, very good player for the Blues. He's kicked 28 goals prior to this game, Terry, so what a pickup.
Been a very handy player, and he's in the right spot there. It was good work, Bradley out of the centre, Spalding getting it on quickly, but Clappe positioning himself well in the roving contest, making sure he was fronting the goals when he took possession so that he could get the straight kick at it.
So the Blues now leading by a point after they've kicked the last 2 goals of the game. Madden beaten by Turnbull, but it comes to Bradley. Bradley knocked over by Worsfold after he delivered the kick, and it's a relayed free up the ground. Quickly taken by Madden to Williams. Williams has given it away to Peter Matera. The kick by Matera. Not great either. Gehrig gets it down to Banfield. Kemp shares the ball with Main Waring, and his kick wide to the 50. Brett Heady making a return, but the kick way too wide. And actually, Main Waring has made a few blues at the start of this game.
So that was quite fortunate for Glenn Manton. Manton's the one gone back into defence now to take Brett Heady, having Koutafidis going forward, so they still have got the 2 tall forwards in the forward line, Kernahan and now Koutafidis.
Well, Madden takes it, but the kick goes nowhere. And there's Manton, number 22, taking the ball out of bounds. Half-back flank for the Blues.
Glenn Manton gets his chance with the Blues. A couple of years ago, played very, very well in the night competition for the Bombers and looked like he could play up forward. So he gets a big chance today with the unfortunate clash of heads with D'Urlio going off. So under a lot of pressure here, Carlton. So Ryan Turnbull picks up, kicks back into the forward line, looking for Gehrig. Sexton now, got him after Jason Ball. Well, he's kicked 48 goals this year.
That's a tremendous mark, being able to push back into the contest, eyes only for the ball. And he's done a very good job in the full forward line throughout the year for the Eagles.
So from 30 metres out, he has missed. So scores are level.
Ange Christou to bring it in for Carlton. There's a bit going on up the ground, way off the ball, and the central umpire has given a free kick. It's between the ruckman, Turnbull and Madden, and it's going to be, I think, Madden's free kick for Carlton, way up at centre half back. So they were where the kick-in was going to land. Never got to them. Christou had followed up. Long kick, half back to half forward. Jakovic, a great mark.
Been the standout defender in the competition for the last 2 years, Glenn Jakovic. Tremendous player.
Superb. Out wide. Turnbull in front of Madden. Slides on the knees to take this mark. Fine sunny conditions in Perth. And with a temperature at about 22 degrees, it might test them a little bit. And at the moment, nothing in it. 2-1 apiece. Midway through the first quarter.
So Sexton has been moved on to Fraser Gehrig. Kicked that first goal, second goal for the Eagles, and looked very lively at centre half forward. So a big job for Matthew Sexton. Those duels will be critical today. Hannah on Mainwaring, Camporelli on Matera. Ratton does the tackle. See Peter Wilson down there with young Simmons and McIntosh sitting on the Eagles bench. Madden wins the tap and gets the free kick. No, they've reversed it. Goes back to Turnbull, Terry.
Well, how can you pick them? A little bit technical there, umpire coach.
And there's Bradley's man, Banfield. So he gets it across to Lyle. He's got a chance to feed it off to Kemp. Hand pass was poor, but he's got support in Banfield. And that's a wonderful kick, and he finds the skipper in Johnny Worsfold.
Wouldn't you like to be on the end of those all day?
Well, Banfield has really stepped on as a player, hasn't he? He originally came in as a tagging type player, but now he's showing some very good offensive skills.
Now, once again, nearly 50 metres for John Worsfold. Oh, beautiful kick. Why did we ever doubt him? Gee, you don't get much better than that. Eagles 3-1, Carlton 2-2.
Well, he has found a little niche in that half-forward line. And what's good about John Worsfold here is he's quite prepared to move around. Here we find the space being created there, and Banfield delivering the ball to him well. But you know, he's been able to pick up a 2 and a 3 goals here and there. Johnny Worsfold has added something to that forward line, certainly.
And in fact, he's playing at full forward at the moment, being picked up by Peter Dean, and he's been quite physical down there. Also with Dean, as we see Hart out of the centre square, wide. Gehrig got tremendous pace. So the kid from Wodonga. His first year of league football. They've had him in the waffle, just developing him. So it's a long rake and kick chance for Lewis. He's got the free kick. And just giving the old nose a bit of a rub there too, Terry.
Yes, he was. And Peter Dean, the mistake Peter Dean made there was he turned his back onto the flight of the ball, I think, as we see here, and really just powers on into Chris Lewis. He needed to be able to turn, look back up at the ball so that he was making contact with his back, not the front of his body.
So Lewis will be shooting from about 45 metres out. Not always the most reliable of kicks. But it's a set shot. It's on a beautiful day, and a good player should kick them. And he is a good player.
It's getting a little bit dangerous here for Carlton now. West Coast open with the first 2 goals. Carlton back with 2, and now the Eagles have settled to kick the last 2. The free kick, yes, legitimately there. And Chris Lewis, a very competent forward line player, kicked 2 goals twice during the year, but his best effort was a 6-goal bag back in round 16 against Collingwood.
Well, the Eagles last week made a great start against Melbourne and kicked 7 goals in the first quarter, so the start here is vital. Carlton go forward out of the middle. Oh, a collision. Oh, and McKenna is down. Jakovic the hand pass. Mainwaring at centre-half back, and Guy McKenna is in all sorts of bother. And the mark at half-forward taken by Heady just outside the 50.
Well, that was a good old-fashioned shirt front then from Earl Spalding. McKenna was wide open, and Spalding really collected him.
Lewis gathers the bouncing ball out wide towards half-forward flank. A centering kick to Kemp. A spoil by Christou. Crowd want a free kick. It's pretty physical. Off the ground. Banfield, a freak goal. And a 15-point lead. Sorry, a 17-point lead to the Eagles.
Well, that centre bounce following that last Eagles goal was very important for Carlton. They got it, but again, the ball was repelled back by the Eagles and gets to the fore, and Drew Banfield just enough to throw his foot onto the ball. Guy McKenna back at the half-back line there, being assisted onto the stretcher, and also Greg Williams went down in that previous centre bounce as well. But here it is. Earl Spalding coming through very strongly, elbow tucked in. It was just the shoulder and probably just enough to clip him just across the chin, so to speak, and down he went.
So the kick's in front of Kernahan. Great punch away by Mitchell White at ground level. This is where Heaver is very dangerous. This could bounce through for Carlton. Second bounce through, it has.
Well, that's his role, Brett Heaver, in this side. He's got to be at the foot of every contest. He's returned after a long spell out from injury. He's played the last 4 games, and in those games he's kicked a 3-2 and a 0-0 the last 2 weeks, and is now late inclusion in the side. But get yourself in the right spot, always gives yourself a chance.
Margin back to 11 points after a terrific Rovers snap goal by Heaver. Camporelli the hand pass to Bradley. Wide he goes to Christou. His kick high to half forward. Clapway, excellent mark. Wilson's just come on the ground to replace McKenna. He made it tough there for Clapway, but he took a good mark. Inside the 50. Spalding crunching through again. He's got another one. It's socket off the ground, and that's out of bounds alongside the behind post. And the Eagles aren't too happy with Earl Spalding, but that time Danny Metropolis felt the blow there. And down on the boundary line, what about Guy McKenna, Dwayne Lamb?
True, yeah, well, it was a very heavy knock, but he's back with it. Obviously got a bit of a headache, but I'm sure he'll be back into it later on.
Big leap by Kernahan. Here's Williams. He didn't have time. Now there's a Carlton free kick here to Kernahan, I believe, for over the shoulder. Right in front sticks Kernahan. And listen to the crowd. And look at the Eagles.
There's a lot of psychological warfare going on out there just at the moment. Every player looking for the edge for himself against his direct opponent, but then for his side as well.
Kernahan, who was out of the game for 4 weeks with a broken hand, returned last week for just 1 goal against North. Here he goes. His first today is a goal. And there is plenty of heat in this game, and at the moment I think the villain is Earl Spalding.
Well, there's Glenn Jakovic just having a few kind words to umpire Coates.
Test here for Glenn Jakovic. I hope that he is in total control of himself there and not getting distracted. Here we see the actual infringement here. Kernahan looking to jump over the back and take it there. and Jakovic does give him a slap across the chops.
Yes, it was a good decision by the umpire. Not many would have seen it. So the Eagles out of the centre. Silvani couldn't take the mark. There's holding the man for mine. Not paid to the Eagles. So Hannah breaks wide. Gets around his opponent in Hart and kicks the ball down. Kernahan territory once more. Good play here by Lyle, but he's been caught. Great tackle by the skipper. Mainwaring comes through. Back towards Kemp. A poor bounce. Lyle once more. Quick kick out of defence. Back to the edge of the centre square. The high flyer from behind was ball taken by Gehrig with quick hands to Turnbull. Here's a chance for the Eagles. Backing back. McIntosh on the ground. Just couldn't hang on to it. Off the bench. It's a throw in 20 metres around from the Eagles' goals.
So Mick Malthouse giving McIntosh his first run of the day. Brett Heady was the player to come off. So he's gone for all his tools with Gehrig, Ball and McIntosh all in the forward line.
Yep, in this game, you need to be tall and it helps to be tough. Madden in front. Brett Ratton, haven't seen too much of him so far.
Don Pike has been tagging Brett Ratton, and he's such an important player throughout that centre. Terry with Williams and also Bradley, but of course no Fraser Brown today to add to the armoury there of David Parkin.
Yeah, Ratton just 2 possessions. Christou the hand pass, punched out by Ratton close to the boundary line and taken over by McKay. Fierce pressure from both sides. Malthouse down on the boundary line. We're close to quarter time. We're in the last 3 minutes of the first quarter. And he looks as though he's feeling it.
Well, it's a pretty hot day and it's very hot out on the field. Christou around the body, but a free kick has been paid. Now it's coming back. In fact, it's going downfield. Bradley was keen to play on, but he has to bring the ball back. Been pretty lively in this first term. He's got Banfield as his opponent. Williams has the ball punched away, taken by Mainwaring. Good play by Hart. Plenty of support across half-back for the Eagles players. Once more Banfield, this time dispossessed, taken by Mackay. Quick kick back, but there he is, the Rock of Gibraltar, Glenn Jakovic.
What a player. 108 games, and today it's 81 straight. Down to the front. Bradley's been outstanding. The hand pass back to McKay. He picks, he didn't pick out a man. It went over his head, Spalding. It comes to Matera, forward of the centre square. Thumps it long. McIntosh is there. Was it a push? A mark. It's a mark to McIntosh. Madden reckons a push. Well, welcome back to AFL football, Ashley McIntosh, playing just his 8th game of the season. He came back through the WAFL competition, and here he is back. Twice in a premiership team. Little left footer, goal. And the Eagles 6-1 to Carlton 4-2.
Well, a very important goal as we approach quarter time. I really thought Carlton were just starting to settle down and take somewhat of the initiative in the match. But this here, McIntosh taking the back position just ever so slightly, nudges Manton out. Manton perhaps feel a little bit hardly done by, but McIntosh, good goal on return.
Bit of height down on that Eagles forward line now with Fraser Gehrig down there as well, with McIntosh coming off the bench and Jason Ball. But Milhana, long bomb, looking for Koutafidis. Started on Gehrig, got blitzed early. Chance now for Camporelli to run on the ball. Just took his eyes off it. Now he wins it at ground level. Back to Clappe. It's a long bomb. There's no one home for the Blues. He needs a bounce. Great defensive play by Lyle. Really got over the top of the ball to smother that.
He came from a long way away.
Just in his first season of league football, he's done well to break into the premiership side. Metropolis, half-back flank. Started his career with 7 goals. What a debut that was against St Kilda back in '92.
Well, the crowd gave it to Greg Williams, and he gave him a couple of fingers back, and it's really on between the crowd and Williams. is Madden at ground level. Inside the last minute of a fiery first quarter. Clapper's hand pass is knocked down. Williams is bowled over. The crowd love that. And he might have given one to Evans. I don't think he'll want to see this replay.
I think Evans may not want to either, Drew.
So the umpire's going to throw the ball up on a dry, sunny day, so it shows you what the spongy surface is like. Still, after a season of football at Subiaco Oval. Tough kick there for Camporelli. That comes to Evans. It was okay. His left foot at a half forward. Gehrig wrestling. Sexton got rid of him, but couldn't mark. Kemp did well. Ratton, a hand pass out of trouble. That was Silvani. Kemp into Banfield. Opening up, but the siren beats the Eagles just as they move inside the 50. Well, what a first quarter. If you missed that, I'm sorry for you, because West Coast and Carlton had a real arm wrestle as we promised, and the Eagles have the early ascendancy, leading by 10 points. And what a quarter. 6-1, 37 Eagles to 4-3, 27 Carlton. We had two players stretch it off the ground in the first quarter, and Greg Williams, not popular with the crowd. It's good to see that Guy McKenna's back up on his feet and coming out bouncing the football.
So the first quarter had everything that we expected, that both sides would go out there very aggressive at the ball and be prepared to put everything on the line in order to get a good start. And it's the Eagles that probably have taken the ascendancy. Carlton worked back very strongly towards the latter part, but sits with the Eagles at this stage, Drew.
6-1, 37 to Carlton, 4-3, 27. And there's the scoreline at quarter time between the competition leaders and the reigning premiers. And the premiers had the better of it. 6-1, 37, leading Carlton 4-3, 27. We've had 10 goals kicked so far by 10 different players. So we start the second quarter here at Subiaco Oval. Natira, with his great pace, wins the first ball and gets it back to Hart. His high kick to half forward. Waiting at the back, Stephen Silvani takes a good mark. Eagles by 10 points after a tough first quarter. Williams, he's now assumed the role of villain. That half-back goes across the half-back line to Sexton. His little left footer wide to Hannah, who marks just inside the line at centre wing. The kick by Hannah. Man in front, Clapper. He'd love to do well against his former side. He's had a great year in 95, Matt Clapper. Oh, at centre half forward, a top mark is dragged down here by Koutafidis, who was a defender in the first quarter at the start of the game and was moved up during that first term.
Well, the Carlton side have opened well here. Clapper, it's a good kick. Just gives it enough air for Anthony Koutafidis to judge it and then jump high and to take it right in front of his face.
This to put the Blues to within 4 points. Koutafidis, 48 metres out from goal. Raking kick, full points.
Well, both coaches have assessed their sides at quarter time and more on a attitude situation than any positional moves. Both sides have lined up pretty much as they finish the quarter, and Koutafidis remaining in the forward line. And David Parker now getting the return for that with a good mark from Koutafidis and a very good kick from that position.
And he's been asked to take over the role of Brad Pearce, who couldn't take his spot in the Blues side today. Williams caught high.
This is a situation Greg Williams loves, doesn't it? He can have the whole world against him, and I think he'd thrive on it. He'll be right into the bottom of the packs. He knows that's where he's going to get plenty of kicks today. They can boo and point as much as he likes.
He'll put himself on the line. He doesn't mind getting a few knocks if he gets the free kicks. So he's indicating he wants Kernahan to lead up at him. So Koutafidis is actually the target. Kernahan's gone back to the goal square. Koutafidis over the top to Spalding. Chance for Djakovic from behind. Did well to Spalding, but a chance now for Spalding. Can he run onto the ball? Great tackle. Tremendous play, and we see there Djakovic picks up his teammate, pats him on the back. So Kernahan gives Mitchell White a nudge out.
leading possession winners in the first quarter. Bradley 9 and Banfield 8, which was interesting because Banfield had Bradley for a lot of the quarter.
Spalding, but punched away by Hart. Chance for Heaver. Picked up by Camporelli. Quick snap. Goal square. Koutafidis. Back of the pack. Chance for Hart. Happy to see the ball trickle over.
37 plays 33. The Eagles in front. Carlton have won 11 games straight coming in, and the Eagles had won their last 2 against Melbourne in Melbourne, and their last home game they flogged Adelaide by 135 points. This is just offline and through for a behind.
Good quick exchange though from the boundary throw in. Carlton prepared to spin the ball around nice and quick, and the small player there, Ratton, was the one on the end of it.
Now White kicking in. They're having a good long look to see whether they can find a direct target. Bit of distance is not a bad way to go. He's kicked that about 65 metres, and Kernahan takes a magnificent mark behind. Short pass over the top. Camporelli, 55 metres out. Rice gets rid of his opponent. Metropolis is there for the Eagles, just looking for the boundary line, and gets a throw in.
Daniel Metropolis trying to make his name as a defender after that great debut when he booted those 7 goals. He's got the big job picking up Koutafidis, who's kicked a goal in this second term already. So Banfield loses control. Bradley gets it back to Williams. Great play, Williams. Did the hippy shake. Puts it into the goal square. Clappe can't take control. And White's happy to see the ball go through for a point. The quick hands then of Bradley to Williams.
It was tremendous, wasn't it? And Williams there was quite prepared to work it right through, but wasn't able to make good enough contact with the ball with that left foot.
A bit like Polly Farmer, Greg Williams mesmerises opponents with the ball. They just don't quite tackle them because they're not quite certain what they're going to do with it. So it's a long kick, but Jakovic too strong in the centre of the ground.
Starting to take over in that position.
He's got a loose player out wide. Gives Manton a chance to get back for the punch. Tries to take it on the third grab, not paid. Pulled off the ball by Banfield. McKay gets it back to Ratton. So Kernahan a long way down, playing up the ground now, goes short and finds Dean Rice.
Rice a long way out, about 60 metres out from goal. Pokes up the ball high for Koutafidis, who takes the mark. What an athlete this bloke is, a hurdler, champion. At school and just out of school. And everything else, a decathlete as well.
Appears, Terry, that the tactics now are for Kernahan to play a fair bit up the ground and leave that 50 metres for Koutafidis one out with Metropolis.
Carlton trailing by 2 points. This to put them in front. Oh, good kick. Well, it was like goal kicking. It was the 11th sport in the decathlon there.
And it is his athleticism that allows Anthony Koutafidis to be such a good player. David Parkin has done well here. He's hung in on this particular move, one that I perhaps wouldn't have supported right throughout, but he's now getting a just reward. So Anthony Koutafidis, very athletic, and with that room that Stephen Kernahan's giving him, he'll certainly do well.
The Blues lead by 4 points after trailing by 10 at quarter time. Turnbull wins the tap. Christo thumps it forward. Main Waring. Forward high. Not paid. Williams. Great hands. Great vision to Ratton. Here's a chance for Rice, but a free kick's being paid. It's being brought back. And they like it at Subiaco. So Jakovic just kicks the ball long. It's one for the high flyers. Mackay from behind takes it.
Nearly got himself boxed up. Finds Silvani. Comes out wide. Hannah. Main Waring, after an untidy start, has come back well. Hannah goes off the ground. The whistle's gone. It's a free kick to Hannah against Main Waring. And the crowd not happy with that one. You can tell from the looks in their faces that they didn't like the decision by Hayden Kennedy. Hannah's kick. Jakovic, no mark. Off the ground by Bradley. One out is Koutafidis with his man. Koutafidis kicked 2 goals already this quarter to Heaver, who kicked 1 in the first quarter. A snap by Heaver is close, but just offline. And the Blues lead by 5 points.
It's Danny Metropolis, isn't it, with Anthony Koutafidis, and standing in all that space. I'd be somewhat nervous myself. Given room to move, Anthony Koutafidis can do extremely well.
And particularly when you haven't played in that sort of position. He's played in defence, but maybe he hasn't played a lot one out in the goal square, which can be a bit of a concern for some players who haven't had the experience of that pressure. Hannah up over the top, takes a terrific grab. Great duel with Chris Mainwaring. So Hannah's a long kick, but he elects to go short, and he finds Camporelli, who's done well. He'll get 50 metres here. So this is a certain goal for Carlton. So there's been a lot of action in the game, a lot of physical clashes, a lot of niggling. Players have to earn their kicks. So Camporelli, the Eagles don't even bother standing on the mark. Why waste time?
Well, this was a good piece of football. Camporelli got himself free off Matera, and I think it's important that you reward your teammates when they can do that and try and look burned to some extent, Peter Matera. But then Tony Evans came in too late, too high, and a good decision by Hayden Kennedy to take him back, and Camporelli kicks his first goal for quite some time for Carlton.
And all of a sudden, an 11-point lead to Carlton. Bradley, a little hand pass to Camporelli. The ball bounces inside the 50. A trap by Koutafidis. Hand pass to Heaver. He's decked by Jakovic. Play on, says the umpire. It's there for the Blues. Spalding back over his shoulder. Good kick. Oh, just offline. And a behind. But interesting to note that Carlton have had 2 goals from 50-metre penalties and another free kick to Kernahan.
You see Peter Wilson coming off and Brett Heddy coming back on for the Eagles. They might have to look at Metropolis on Koutafidis, who apart from kicking 2 goals is playing in front and looking very, very dangerous. So the ball out wide, it's taken by Hart. He's got a chance to feed it off to Mitchell White. Matera has got the chance here, half 40. Had his back turned. So it's Matera versus the skipper Kernahan. Beautiful kick by Matera. Just couldn't hang on to the Sherrin was McIntosh, so Sexton cleans up, kicks back where Christo's got 2 to beat. Silvani lends support and forces it over. Camporelli with 9 possessions to Matera's 8, doing his job across the centre. What a season he's had for a first-year player. Kemp. Norm Smith medalist and from the grand final last year. Just forcing it over.
Gee, they've had a great run, haven't they? Both in team awards and individual awards. The Eagles have made a real impact on the competition in their 8 years in. Oh, look at the pace of Matera. Absolutely sensational. And Christo was not slow. And Matera just bolted away from him. The ball out on the 50. Yes, that's worth individual applause. Runner-up to Greg Williams in the Brownlow last year. So the Quinella on show here at Subiaco Oval this afternoon. Clean possession, Harry Madden, the veteran. Ball, say the crowd. Matera's hand pass. Manton. Gee, it's a hot potato. Pike. Camporelli doing well. Off the ground he goes, but gave it too much. Out of bounds on the full. And Banfield will take the free kick into play. Drew Banfield with the left footer inside 50. Ball, but Silvani read it better. And Stephen Silvani takes the mark.
This Carlton defence is standing up well here at the moment. This has been a good surge by the West Coast Eagles over the last minute or so, but Carlton standing strong.
Carlton's booted 3 goals this quarter. The Eagles yet to get a goal. That forward line was very potent in that first term with those tall players, with Ball doing well and Fraser Gehrig along with McIntosh, but you're right there, Terry. They've really tightened up. Carlton defence. So Turnbull wins the tap. Camporelli rockets it back to Williams, starting to pick up a big swag of possessions. Oh, terrific mark coming across there by Johnny Worsfold. Played on the forward line in the first term. Kicks the ball deep. In front was Jason Ball. Simmons, who started on the interchange bench, has been held. So Johnny Worsfold has been pushed back into defence. Simmons has come off the interchange bench.
Worsfold
He's got the lead on, and he hits his teammate there in Jason Ball on the chest.
Well, Worsfold has gone back to pick up Clappe, but he's also in an area where he can help out Metropolis with Koutafidis, and Kouta would just want to keep an eye out.
So Turnbull coming off, and Guy McKenna about to come back on as Jason Ball is off target. Is that a mark down there to McIntosh? Is it going to be paid? It is. Goes short and finds Lewis. Now he may have to bring this back because the umpire was lining up Sexton on the mark. So one would suspect that he'll run around, and he's popped it through for goal number 2.
Well, McIntosh into the forward line after spending some 4 weeks out with a quad injury. This is a very good mark in terms of the contest there, being able to shuffle in from the side and take it. He's kicked the Eagles' last 2 goals, but 3 goals sandwiched in between there by the Carlton side. Sits the game a little bit towards the Blues at this stage.
McIntosh in his return, a perfect record. 2 marks, 2 kicks and 2 goals. Madden out of the middle, and a mark taken by Whitehead. Fires out the hand pass to Hannah going past. Wide for Koutafidis. And he's proving a real problem for Metropolis. He's kicked 2 goals in this quarter, Anthony Koutafidis. And this time he's wide out, but about 40 metres from goal.
One of the options Mick Malthouse had was actually McIntosh to go back, but I don't think he'd be tempted to do that now. Perhaps Guy McKenna, who's in on the forward line at the moment, may be the next opponent for Anthony Koutafidis.
Has the goals in his sights. Oh, and that is a great kick. That's 3.
In fact, Fraser Gehrig may be an option also for Mick Malthouse. Fraser Gehrig's played up back and forward this year, and he's very, very quick because Koutafidis at the moment is far too quick for Metropolis.
Well, and I think probably that's why you are a past coach, Kevin, because that's exactly what Mick's doing at the moment. Fraser Gehrig making the move down there at this centre bounce, and Danny Metropolis moving back up into the forward line. Certainly he had run it far enough. Dangerous part about Koutafidis was his 3 goals have all come from marks, and that shows he's in very good form.
And the crowd down there were awake up to the change because they applauded when it was made.
And Metropolis comes off the ground, and Turnbull comes on as Bradley comes out of the centre. There's Williams, who was held. He might be the villain, but he's a great player. He's slow, he's fat, but he keeps getting the ball. Manton also about to come off for Carlton as the Diesel just giving a few signals. He's taking his time trying to set it up. Kernahan makes the lead in the pocket. Now he goes towards Koutafidis. Couldn't take it on the second grab. At ground level, Pike gets it out where we see the ball's kicked off the ground there by Ball. So it's only 20 metres around from Carlton's goal. Spalding just takes it out of the air. Virtually just gave the ball across to Kernahan. Fraser Gehrig has a fresh air shot. Koutafidis pounces on it. Then loses control. Back to Bond. Quick snap over the shoulder. Good relieving mark by Mitchell White.
Long clearing kick and a fingertipper by Matera. Crowd want 50 for that, but nothing doing. Peter Matera, left half-back flank for the Eagles. Goes for distance. Oh, kicks it 70 metres. What a kick. Punched by Silvani, but the whistle had gone before the ball arrived. And a little bit off the ball. It's a free kick to Turnbull, to Lewis. Chris Lewis just forward of centre wing. He's Steers it in low. Ugly looking trajectory. Dean is there. Dean trying to trap it. Heady. Knocked out by Sexton. Oh, a sandwich, and Silvani might have come off worse. Little toe poke there by Turnbull. And a diving defensive mark to Christo.
Great play by Michael Sexton there, being able to push himself and get an arm in just to be able to flick the ball away towards the boundary line.
Carlton leading by 12 points midway through the second quarter. The kick by Christo. Over halfback. Madden gets the spoil towards the boundary line. And out of play. It is quite warm here, and one factor is Carlton are the oldest side in the competition, and they have 5 players who played over 200 games. Now, in a hot game like this, will they go the distance?
Mackay, cross half-back. Jagovic makes a rare mistake, picked up by Bond. Started the game on the interchange bench. Bit of pace up on the forward line, as we see Spalding can't keep his feet. Mitchell White kicks the ball back. That's a beautiful kick. Spotted Simons, and he should get 50. He should get 50, no doubt about that. But it's not paid, goes wide and finds Lyle. So they've transferred across to the members' side, puts it in front of Heady. He was held. That's a good decision also by the umpire. Kicks to the open space, ball runs onto the ball and gets the thumbs up from Terry Wheeler. The free kick's being paid. Yeah. Interfered with.
Yeah, good decision, and a 50 against Stephen Silvani. Stephen, you don't do that. You know the rule. You've got to give it back on the full. Very lackadaisically just tossed it away, and the umpire right on the ball there. So it's starting to turn back the Eagles' way. Carlton 2 goals from 50-metre penalties. This to be the Eagles' first in such a fashion.
Might have saved himself a lynching there, Hayden Kennedy.
Well, I thought all the decisions that given then were correct, and he popped it through for his first goal. Now McIntosh gives a long lead, playing on Sexton. This time Sexton's able to spoil. We've got a throw in.
Came up limping.
A bit of a murmur went round the crowd then, Drew, just at that stage.
He's missed quite a few games of football with a torn thigh muscle. He's come back through the waffle. So let's hope nothing serious there for Ashley McIntosh. Clappe, tripped. So keen to impress. Played 29 games with the Eagles. Been very good for Carlton this year up forward. Now playing in defence, gives it across to Silvani. He kicks an awkward one. Made it hard for the forwards, easy for Jakovic. He's got a loose player. It's Don Pike, who's done very well on Ratton. He's really struggled to get away today. So Pike, the Eagles have done this to Carlton all day. They've slowed things down. They've waited for an option. Jakovic gets around Bradley. No, he doesn't. Good play by Braddles. As we see, Jakovic kicks the ball back. Chance for McIntosh. Ooh, wild kick off the ground by Mackay. Now they want holding the ball. They won't get it.
Actually, they're drawing the player and holding onto the ball. It's Fremantle Docker style, isn't it, a bit, Kate?
Well, they're not just bombing it today. They're trying to keep a little bit of possession. And even from their kickouts, they've made certain that they'll hold the play up.
Close to the boundary line, but it's still there. The high ball is out of bounds on the full. And a free kick to Carlton. We've got just over 2 minutes remaining to half-time. And Don Pike hasn't had as much of it today as sometimes. 7 possessions. Christo to take the free kick. Plenty of distance. Dean underneath the ball. Ratton goes off the ground. Back into the pack. Mainwaring. It spills off McKay. Oh, beautiful play by McKenna. He used his body to get in between opponent and ball. And speaking of his Turnbull, and puts the Eagles in front. How was that for a gather at ground level and a snap for goal from a man his size, Wheels?
That's incredible skills for Ryan Turnbull. Being, again, aggressive in at it and being able to then to make the most of this situation. Bit of a fumble from the big fella, but then able to regain it and take it. Ryan Turnbull really is one of the keys to this side. His work in the centre bounces is very, very important. One of the better clearances of centre bounces for the big fellas within the competition, purely through agility in the air and at ground level.
Terrific atmosphere at Subiaco. Good to see McKenna also firing at that hand pass. He's got his wits back after being carted off on a stretcher. Here comes Matera, the best goal-kicking women ever to play in the game. It's a long bomb. Chance for McIntosh. Couldn't take it. Now he can. He's going to kick an easy goal. Three goals to Ashley McIntosh. And like Koutafidis at the other end of the ground, he's big problems.
He's huge problems, Kevin, the way he's been able to take hold of that goal square as Michael Sexton's his opponent now. Matera looks unlow with a big torp, didn't quite get onto it, but the fumble and everything just sits up here for Ashley McIntosh. The Eagles now, they've kicked 5 of the last 6 goals and certainly dominated the second half of this second quarter.
Eagles lead by 12 points. 1.5 minutes to half-time. Madden just about missed with that punch-out. Ratton to Williams. Rice, the hand pass back to Ratton under pressure. Banfield with him. The umpire will ball it up. Chance for the crowd to settle just before half-time. It hasn't disappointed at all this game. Madden, a bit of a juggle, eventually clean possession. Well played, Justin Madden. Rice, a very high ball, not one for the forwards. Hooked up by Clappe, who looks as though he's gone up to half forward. Koutafidis out to Whitehead. Should get the goal, but hooked it back. It's close. I think he's kicked it anyway. Goal to the Blues, and it's a 6-point difference in the last minute of the first half.
This is good. Dean Rice, I think, has faded out a little bit in this second part of the second quarter. Been a very strong play and very aggressive, but Anthony Koutafidis remains the trump card in the forward line for Carlton's side. There again being aggressive, forward moving at the ball, and Whitehead providing the run alongside him. Good work from the normally known as back pocket player.
So Madden versus Turnbull. Taken out of the centre. Quick kick by Lyle. Heady showing a lot of courage. Also was Milhana. Mackay across half-back for Carlton. We've got a ball up. So Milhana have to go at that hard. Bit limpy. So West Coast by 6 points. Ball. Tried to take it on the half volley. Kemp was held. Silvani. Hand pass wasn't a good one. He'll be happy to just paddle it over. A lot of pressure, hard for the players to hit targets, Terry.
Well, yeah, this half-time break will be very important, Kevin, just to give the players a chance to have a breather in what are very extreme heat conditions here this afternoon.
So right on half-time, the siren sounds to end a fantastic first half at Subiaco. The game has lived up to all the expectations. And at half-time, West Coast with fantastic kicking. 11 goals, 167 to Carlton's 9-7, 61. And there's Anthony Koutafidis with 3 goals for the Blues. Justin Maddens had a big day in the ruck against Ryan Turnbull. Glenn Jakovic been supreme across half-back.
Well, the Blues with just Bond and Heaver on the bench to start the second half, so it looks as though we won't see any more of DiIulio during the game.
No, well, he was very, very heavily hit in that marking collision when Kernahan went for the mark and he clashed heads with David Hart.
Bounce to start the second half. Eagles leading by 6 points, and straight away Williams is grabbed by Evans when he didn't quite have the ball. Free kick to Greg Williams.
13th possession.
He's kicked to centre half forward. Clappe had a spell at half back, now on the forward line. Kernahan the hand pass back. Christou, who's been moved forward. Very high ball here. A punch by Gehrig away from Koutafidis. Spalding dishes out another one. Down goes Pike. The hand pass. Koutafidis back into trouble. And the umpire comes in and will ball it up. Well, Spalding is really throwing his weight around.
We've lost nothing during the half-time break in terms of aggression, and Earl Spalding certainly has his hands full at the moment with Glenn Jakovic. Jakovic was very good in the latter part of that second quarter, but Spalding coming out fighting early.
Well, I think he's ripped open a can of spinach on the way over. So big pack of players Worsfold on hands and knees. Ball comes out. Sporting with quick hands. Back to Bradley. It's a hurried kick. This could be a... Oh, Camporelli just couldn't take it on the full. Then he's brought to the ground by Mitchell White. Hey, one holding the ball.
Now, is that not holding the ball? He was dragged to the ground and held the ball under him all the way for a long time.
So the indication is, even though the surface is brand new, they've got to throw it up because the ball really doesn't bounce. We see a quick snap. That's by Camporelli. And they've kicked another goal. So young Camporelli with this tremendous duel on the wing with Peter Matera.
It's been a very good day for Scott Camporelli, playing his first year of senior football. In actual fact, this is the first time he's kicked 2 goals in an AFL game, and so a good milestone for him. But his match-up to Matera has been a most important one here today. Good start here for Carlton.
So the score's level again. Carlton 17 scoring shots and the Eagles just 12. Madden pops the ball up in the air. Ratton taps it out and then applies the tackle on Matera. And the umpire signalling... Yeah, he signalled the wrong way. The first time he's given the free kick Carlton's way as though Ratton was going to get a kick. There's no way it was his. Matera is bowled over from behind. No 50 for that.
By his teammate Jakovic.
Yeah, so a free kick to Peter Matera. The umpire got a bit confused as to who was going which way that time. Dropped mark by Clappe. Here's Christou. And when it looks like forwards are becoming backs and vice versa, I think they're just covering the ground. They're just crossing lines and filling up space when they need men at the ball.
Both defensive lines Drew are quite prepared to run on down the ground, so Ange Christou was run earlier, but he is still marking Dean Kim across the half-back line for Carlton.
Ball close to the boundary line. Is that an Eagles free? Yes, it is. Just outside the 50. Chris Lewis will take it. Free kicks in the game are 13 to 11 in favour of Carlton.
Been a quiet player today, Chris Lewis, just the 4 possessions.
He's too far out to score. Very slight breeze into his face, and on the 50, Ryan Turnbull. So anyone who can kick a ball over 50 metres should be able to do it today, even going to this end, because there's hardly a breeze to speak of. Turnbull and Madden have had an interesting contest in the ruck. Craig Bradley standing the mark and jumping up and down. No hope of smothering this one. Right to the goal square. Pack gathers. Manton. Well done. Kicks out of defence. Here comes Mainwaring. It's still there for Chris Mainwaring. 30 metres out. The snap on the line. Sexton.
So Michael Sexton. So a tough initiation today. A couple of goals kicked on him by McIntosh. Also Fraser Gehrig proved a bit too good earlier, as we see Hannah up high over the back. Now, will they keep the ball in? Dean does. He's caught. Well done, Chris Mainwaring. So Ratton now brings the ball back. Bradley tries to slap it forward. Pike. And pass is smothered by Spalding. Does well. Great vision. Hannah should give it up to Rice. He does now. He's got Kernahan as his target. He goes past him. Kuda-Feedy's in front. Gehrig punches from behind. Jakovic does the roving. Kulis a cucumber. Kicks wide. Now this is a one-on-one duel. Camporelli versus Matera. Camporelli playing in front. Matera appealing for the free kick.
Oh, it has been one of the highlights, hasn't it?
Yep. And particularly with Camporelli kicking 2 goals, so Matera yet to kick a goal. It's a good effort.
A lot of players around this. A backhander by Madden, helped on by Whitehead. Matera's kick smothered. Greg Williams emerges, approaches the 50. They boo him every time he gets a touch. Kuda-Feedy's on the half volley. Fires one out. Hand pass Camporelli is good. And here's a goal to Clappe. Turnbull in front of Madden. Hurried kick out of there. Hart takes the mark. David Hart, who was involved in that collision with Diulio earlier in the game. Up to the 50. Manton should have taken the mark. It's there for Kemp. Camporelli got his body in there and did well, Scott Camporelli. He did concede a goal to Matera in this quarter, but has kicked 2 himself. has had 14 possessions, and the former South Australian has had a good day.
Matera's had 16 and kicked a goal, and 14 to Camporelli and 2 goals. So it's been a terrific duel.
Sexton. Camporelli goes backwards, and the kick is out of bounds. No. Wilson, a centering kick, flipped over by McIntosh. Oh, free kick to Heady, right in front.
There's some great stuff in there. I think it was Peter Matera out on the boundary line. Just kept the ball alive by being able to flick it in. Here it comes here, and then McIntosh does exactly the same thing. Just keeping the ball alive, keep it moving your way at all times. And actual fortune favoured the Eagles on that occasion with the free kick being awarded to Brett Heady.
Well, bad one by Stephen Silvani right in front. Heady kicked a goal in the second quarter after taking a mark. 7-point lead at the moment to the Eagles, and this should give them a 13-point lead. Well, he's hooked it, and a point only to Brett Heady. So in a game where the tough ball is so hard to win, a set shot right in front, he should have done better than that.
Well, 8 points the difference, just under 11 minutes to go in this third term. So Christou puts it out in front. Mackay can run onto the ball. He's been pushed as he's kicked the ball. Good defensive play by Chris Lewis. He's forced the error, so Main Waring will put the Eagles back into attack inside 50. Heady's in front. Sexton comes in. So once more just brings it back where Hannah was the high flyer. Rice on hands and knees. And a throw in. Ashley McIntosh with 3 goals is the main goal kicker for the Eagles. And Anthony Koutafidis with 3 goals, all in the second term, the best for the Blues. So Main Waring goes short. Wilson could have nearly taken it. Dean, the opponent, stacks on the mill. Umpire Hayden Kennedy just reading the riot act, and he's given a free kick. Now he's pinged Peter Wilson for not letting him up off the ground. What do you think about that, Terry?
Well, I think the umpires are aware if Peter Wilson's in a little contest like that, they'll get in there quickly. They might find something.
Chance for Hannah. Main Waring should punch. He does. Good roving by Pike. Back towards Heady in front. Dean.
He'd been pretty quiet until that free kick. This is just his 4th possession for the game.
There were some doubts about him taking his place in the side today as Ratton rockets the ball back to Mackay. So the Blues really just struggling to get the ball across half forward. Chance now for Clappe. He needs a kind bounce. He gets it, Spalding. Rice is his target. Great mark, Dean Rice.
That's the advantage of Dean Rice. He can play, as they say in the jargon, as a tall in the forward line as well. A very good mark overhead for a man his size. Good use of the ball from Spalding too, allowing Rice to dictate the terms against his opponent. Great mark.
Carlton 8 points behind. Rice 40 metres out wide near the boundary line. Head coming back, but not enough. And a behind. He's kicked 1 goal, 2 today. His goal came after a 50-metre penalty in the first quarter. Eagles by 7 points, 9 1/4 minutes to 3/4 time. Fantastic battle at Subiaco Oval. White comes out short to Pike, still in the back pocket. Players moving all over the place, but not too many out in the open for the Eagles, so Pike switches to the far side. Matera leaves Camporelli, drops the mark. Camporelli then gets into his back. No free kick, ball out of play. Peter Matera saying to the umpire, "Didn't you see that, sir?" Throw in.
Well, 45 metres around from Carlton's goal. Evans, hands were too quick for Simmons. So Peter Wilson off, and coming back onto the ground is Lyle. Simmons dispossessed. Short kick off the ground by Gehrig. Ball up on 50.
It's tight now, isn't it? Both sides have just started to close it down a little bit, allowing neither one or the other have a run in this latter part of this third quarter.
No easy kicks, no easy handballs. Chance now for Christou. Trying to paddle the ball back. Good hands by Kemp, but it's been sharked here by Koutafidis. Kicks down where we see Mainwaring will chip across in front of Kernahan. He does that well, Mainwaring. Now a bit of rebound football because he's got Mitchell White loose half back. McKenna gives him an option. Now he goes short. They can raffle this. Oh, and Fraser Geary, I think the sun was in his eyes. Comes back onto the left boot. Will go short looking for Turnbull. And he marks on the wing.
Well, after they'd kicked 20 goals between them in the first half, this has really dried up in this third quarter, and the kick is straight out of bounds on the full. And in the third quarter, and we're over halfway, the Eagles have kicked 1-3 to Carlton 1 goal 2.
The ascendancy in the third quarter is not necessarily always as a result of attacking offensive play. Much of the time it's being able to tighten things up and have the opposition crack up a little bit.
Kick by Christou, who's grabbed at the front by Pike. Little hand pass to Evans. He bounces over the centre of the ground, up towards half forward. Sun in players' eyes at that end. Dean is lifted in the last few minutes. It comes to Kemp. Dean tackles well. Silvani round the boundary line. Pretty close. On the bounce to Hannah. And we'll have a throw in.
We've had a lot of play close to the boundary line because there's not too many free options for the players, and players with the ball are forcing to try and pinpoint passes all the time.
Well, this ground is about 15 metres longer than Princes Park, but there's not much room here today. And Kemp's out of bounds again.
Yeah, I think it's a credit to the offences of both sides. The forward lines, they're putting immense pressure on the defence, so defences are having to peel out wide towards the boundary line in order to look for that run.
Turnbull beats Madden. Great tackle by Ratton. Kicked off the ground by Pike. Here's a chance for the Eagles. Ball did well. Then dispossessed. Manton. Hand pass didn't go anywhere. Lewis just paddles along back to ball. The pressure, it's intense. Manton does well again. Works hard back to Mackay. Manton, good play, son. Once more the kick. Under pressure, heading towards the boundary line. And another boundary throw-in.
The Matera Hannah duel is, the Mainwaring Hannah duel is very important one because most of the players on this wing at the moment, and Carlton will be looking for Mel Hannah just to be able to stand up a little bit stronger in the contest and provide an avenue through this cluttered midfield.
So West Coast still by 7 points. Koutafidi's been moved up the field after booting 3 goals in the second term. Trying to win the ball, does well. Chance for Bradley, but Simmons, he was held. Play on, here goes Matera. Sydney 2000, here we come.
The kick by Matera over the head of McIntosh. Silvani gets back there and shields the ball over the boundary line for a throw in the forward pocket.
Put him in the relay or put him in the 100 metres dash. Let's win a couple of gold medals. Why muck around?
Well, he's been spectacular, hasn't he? What was it, 4 goals in the grand final from the wing? 5? Unbelievable. Dean, clean possession, bowled over by Kemp. Kept in by Evans. It's Lyle. Look at the pressure there. Tackled by Ratton. This is sensational stuff. And the ball, I think it's just gone over the boundary line, but maybe a free kick or a baller just before it went out.
This is a lot better than the Tyson McNeely fight.
It's a lot tougher, lasted a lot longer, and has entertained, well, not a lot more people, but they got their money's worth anyway.
And they're fair dinkum.
Yeah, anyone who thought that Carlton might be prepared to drop a game late in the season and then get going again, you only have to look at this to know that they are trying to win every game on the run-up to the premiership.
So Kemp, the ball ricochets back to Christou. Banfield has had a big duel all day with Bradley. Bradley's had 14 possessions, Banfield's had 11. Triple best and fairest winner for Carlton, Bradley. Leading the Channel 7 Sports World Player of the Year award. Pike, ever reliable, back inside 50. McIntosh comes out. Sexton defends grimly. And once more the ball is forced over.
So who's giving the votes today? If Bradley's leading, there'd be a bit of pressure on him to give the votes.
That's Terry Wheeler's job.
Good luck, Wheels.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Madden this time gets first use of the ball. Kemp playing in front, taken to the ground. Well, there'll be some record tackles today, I think, Terry.
Yeah, and in this situation, what the player's got to do is just try and get the ball free. Quick kick just like that, spill it out.
Under pressure, kick it as far as you can, Whitehead. Free kick this time goes to the Blues. Trans Christou and David Hart a bit unhappy. So he can kick the Blues out of trouble, kick it long towards the boundary line. Madden goes up one hand. Back towards Clapper, he's got Simmons to beat.
Oh, great tackle. Great tackle.
Once more it's forced over.
There are plenty of great tackles that don't get you a kick, but the crowd not happy that time, but all it did was bring the boundary umpire into play again. He's had a busy quarter, that fella.
So Whitehead sharks it from Spalding into the forward pocket. Guy McKenna just happy to see it go over.
You might have to leave some votes for the two boundary umpires, Wheels.
They've worked extremely hard, haven't they, right throughout.
Chance here for Carlton. Kernahan tries to palm the ball down, but into a nest of players. No way of getting it out of there. Umpire coach comes in and will ball it up. 4 1/4 minutes to 3/4 time, and the margin's 7 points in favour of the Eagles. Kernahan, a big climb again, knocks it goalwards. Whitehead, ball out in front. Spalding. Whitehead went past. Snap. Goal! Point the difference. Well played by Adrian Whitehead.
Hasn't he done it well? One of 10 Carlton players to play every game this year, and now making a little bit of a niche here this afternoon in the forward line. His second goal, and it's done through sheer hard work. He just maintains his aggression at the ball right throughout, and the Carlton players just continue to look to keep it alive all they can on the end of it. A good one as we go back to the centre of the ground.
Free kick to Turnbull. And a free kick to Turnbull. So he goes wide, he's looking for ball. Silvani was held. So he's got a loose player. So West Coast 12-4-76, lead by a point. Carlton 11-9-75, Ratton marks in the centre square. Madden's going to be his target out wide. Turnbull a punch from behind. And does it well. Should kick off the ground. Does so. Dean trapped it onto the left boot. Looking for Spalding, bumped out of the way by Jakovic. And Jakovic throws the fist into the ground. Spalding looks for Kernahan in front. He was held. Not seen that time. Strong play, 45 metres out from Carlton's goal. Pike dispossessed. Stacks on the mill. Look at players lying all over the ground, dog-tired. It's been a ferocious game.
I think Jakovic has got a justifiable argument here. Ball thrown into the air by the umpire. Madden wins for the Blues. It's knocked outside 50. Hannah away from Main Waring. A very high ball. Tough one to mark for the forwards. Oh,
great
is
work.
that a mark and a half? And Peter Dean has drifted down the ground to mark on the forward line. I remember earlier in this quarter looking up and he'd had only 2 possessions, but he's had a good third quarter, Dean.
Well, Drew, your call was that's a tough one for the forwards to mark. So it's taken a backman to go down there and do it. Very strong there, Peter Dean, and he's very much committed to this cause of the Carlton Football Club for 1995.
Back after 2 weeks out with a hip injury. Dean goes for the goal, sprays it right, and the scores are level at Subiaco Oval. And we have 2 minutes remaining to 3/4 time. All tied up again.
So McKenna yet to have a kick. It's been a big day though. Carted off on a stretcher, came back and took a terrific mark. Finds Hart. Kicks long. Madden should mark. Drops it. Spalding lends support. Terrific agility by Spalding for a guy 6'5", then pinpoints it to Williams. He'll get the boos. So Kernahan, who's really struggled today, tries to take a one-hander. Mitchell White's been very good on Kernahan. Here's a chance, Kudafidi snaffles it. Quick snap, he's booted 3. Is this 4? He's hit the post.
Just lost it momentarily there, Anthony Kudafidis. He had Milhana clear outside and could have just fed it out to him, but decided after kicking 3 goals himself, a 4th was begging.
McKenna kicks in. Kernahan is there to punch the ball away from Mitchell White. It's out of bounds. So the Blues lead by a point. It's Carlton 11-11, 77, leading the Eagles 12 goals 4, 76. Minute and a half to go to the 3/4 time siren. Well done, Kernahan. Gehrig, good hand pass. Matera. Camporelli closing the gap on him. Not a great kick by Matera. A juggler down there by Silvani. Keeps it out in front. Stephen Silvani, brilliant play. Hasn't got it yet. Over the head, almost a throw. Kudafidis, he goes to ground. Gehrig has to do it again. Fires out the hand pass to Jakovic. A chance for a late goal for the Eagles to wrestle back the lead. Matera's down in the middle of the ground with cramp. Jakovic all the way nearly to the 50. A long kick. Lewis! Off the hands and through for a point, which puts the Eagles level. 77 points apiece. Matera receives treatment for the cramp. Malthouse down at ground level. It's all happening here at Subiaco Oval.
Well, we've got a tied-up ball game. Dean to bring the ball back. One moment he's having a shot for goal. The next he's kicking out. And Matera's coming off with the cramp. Madden tries to punch the ball on. Main Waring read it better than anyone else. Outside 50. Chance for Lewis backing back. He's manhandled his opponent. No, he hasn't, says the umpire. Through for 1 point. So the Eagles back in front. Just under half a minute to go in this 3rd term. Kicked a sensational goal, Peter Matera, in this 3rd term. He's having a great duel with young Camporelli as Christo finds Hannah loose on half-back. Only seconds to go in this 3rd term. Kudafidis is his target. Gehrig's there. Ball's punched over. Mick Malthouse there with Ian Miller, former Fitzroy player, winner of the Sandover Medal, chairman of selectors for the Eagles. Just barking a few instructions, and out goes Robert Wiley, former Tiger Premiership player. Clappe. Chip kick. Whitehead, beaten by Lyle. Back to Simmons. And there goes the siren for another great quarter of football at Subiaco. At 3/4 time, the West Coast Eagles 12-6-78. Lead by 1 point. Carlton 11-11, 77.
And will they be taking a breather here at 3/4 time? It's a warm day. We've hit the top of 22 degrees. And it's just been a fierce contest from the opening bounce. And players are really going to need this break of the last quarter. And perhaps especially Peter Matera, who left the ground late in that quarter with his cramp. Camporelli's run him around a bit today. Camporelli's kicked 2 goals, Matera's kicked 1. The 2 wing battles on either side of the ground have been something worth coming 4,000 kilometres to see. And at the last change, the Eagles by a point, 12-6-78, Carlton 11-11, 77. Well, the expectation for this last half hour of action. We look forward to the game and it hasn't let us down. We start the last quarter. Madden wins in the middle, but there's no space for the midfielders. Ratton goes off the ground and gets a good kick to the 50. Whitehead caught behind Hart. Jakovic, a beautiful mover. Kicks across the half-back line. Simmons. He's got Gehrig in support. Oh, not a great kick by Simmons. The hand pass up for Carlton. Whitehead has it on the 50. He gets it going forward. Clappe soccers off the ground, and it's coming back to be a free kick to Carlton, to Adrian Whitehead. And the crowd not happy. Whitehead's already kicked 2 goals. The free kick count is 19-15 in favour of Carlton. Kernahan's taken just 1 mark for the day. There's Rice. Back he goes to the captain. Kernahan from near the boundary line. Poster. Boy, the scores are level.
Gave that a fair whack, didn't it? Slammed right into the goal post halfway up, but Mitchell White has done an extremely good job on Stephen Kernahan. Just the 1 mark all day for Kernahan, who can be a very damaging player for the Blues in that forward line.
McKenna finds the loose pike. Down towards Matera. Good punch away by Camporelli. What a duel that's been. Tony Evans over the top, and he's been pinged for holding the ball. Well, that might have been a bit tough.
Swings and slides, I think, Kevin. He got away with a couple a little earlier, which he may have been caught on.
Evans down towards Pike, who recovers well. The Norm Smith medalist around the corner to Heady. Got a bad bounce, and in fact the ball ricocheted up and hit Manton in the face. So Manton gets his chance here at Carlton. Big game. After crossing from Essendon, Madden taps to the front of the pack. Camporelli. Quick kick back towards centre wing. Mitchell White's very happy to see it just trickle over.
And
very good player.
Sorry, Kevin, Mick Malthouse has Chris Lewis starting on the bench, and John Worsfold comes back into the forward line, and it's been Andrew Mackay who's been so dominant across half-back for there against those two opponents.
He's been very, very good. Mackay, as Pike kicks back, looking for ball. Manton, backed up by Silvani, who's been fouled. So a free kick is coming back to Silvani. In fact, he's going to pay upfield to Ange Christou.
Kick by Christou towards the centre of the ground. Low to the ground, Kernahan marks. His second mark for the day. He's got support. Whitehead's had more space than any player's had all day to the forward line. Rice slides, a half volley. He's got it, Dean Rice. The hand pass to no one in particular. It dropped short of Clappe. He interfered with Hart. Play on, says the umpire. Matera gets the hand pass away, and the Eagles clear. Centre of the ground, a one-hander pulled in by White well up the ground. He slid it away, but it's intercepted by Hannah. Kick by Hannah. A high ball to centre half forward. Big pack, no mark. Matera, hurried kick out of defence. Here are the two ruckmen, Turnbull and Madden. Turnbull keeps the ball in. Madden grabs him and gives away an easy free kick.
It was a silly free kick because he had support in Whitehead. He may not have known it, but in the context of the game, Terry, it was silly.
It was. All Justin had to do was to contain him on the boundary line. In actual fact, as you call, the reinforcements were coming in young Whitehead.
And it was a long run that Madden didn't really need in his 307th game on a hot day.
So a free kick should have been paid there to Dean. Evans caught. Kemp. Great tackle, Peter Dean. Christou under pressure. This is a great game.
Scores level, and the contests all around the ground. There are 18 contests going on. Fantastic.
And Ratton comes off. Hasn't had the best of days. Was that in the back? Not paid. Main Waring goes to ground. The tackling's been superb by both sides. Main Waring. Great to see him back playing for the Eagles. That big shoulder injury kept him out for most of the year. Handy to have him back for the finals. Turnbull wins the tap. Kemp, quick hands to Evans. Another one returning for the Eagles. High ball, punched away by Peter Dean from Metropolis, who started the game in defence, has had a rest on the interchange bench, now back on the forward line.
Whitehead's gone on to Peter Matera down here in the foreground, with Camporelli going up to a forward pocket. So that contest, which has raged for over 3/4, is now over. A left footer by Evans inside the 50. McKay streams down the ground at the ball. Here's Metropolis. He kicked 4 goals in his first quarter of league football. He goes off the left, hooks it badly, and Silvani takes the mark. Scores level at 78 points apiece. McKay marks on the defensive 50 for Carlton. Short pass. Beauty too. And Koutafidis marks in between half-back and centre wing. A kick by Anthony Koutafidis. Players looking into the sun here. Difficult one. Hart with Camporelli. And the ball out of play. Now in between wing and half-forward for Carlton. And so far in this last quarter, we've had just one behind, and that's for the Blues. The score's level.
So Turnbull thumps the ball to the front of the pack. Banfield does the roving, gives it across to Jakovic. This time he doesn't hit his target. Camporelli, the bottom of the pack. Bonds there for Carlton. Kick off the ground by Simmons. Here's a chance. Hannah All he needs is a clean pick-up. He does that. Point of the square. It's got Bradley loose. So Craig Bradley is shooting from just inside 50.
This was a good kick from Hannah, just being able to spot Bradley in short and just tossing it up over the top there. This is a very important kick from Craig Bradley. One of the better ones, I would suggest, from the Carlton side from set shots.
He's had 14 possessions. His opponent for most of the day has been Banfield. He's had 13. This is just inside 50. Has he popped it through? He has. That's why he's won 3 best and fairest with Carlton. Been one of the best players over the last 8 or 9 years. Good players kick you good goals.
It does. A lot of this play was set up again by Scott Camporelli. He worked extremely hard in the half-forward flank, and his work allowed the ball to be spilled out to Hannah, who in turn passed it on to Bradley. But some good work from that young player now playing at half-forward.
Well, it took 7 minutes into the last quarter for the first goal, and the Blues lead by 6 points, but the Eagles go forward. Metropolis just outside the 50. Back to Evans. Evans from 51. There's nobody on the goal line. Heady. Oh, great mark. Magnificent mark by Brett Heady. And he had to go for it. It was missing. It was going through for a behind. The Eagles want a goal, and that was just sensational by Heady.
She's a tight angle.
He runs around, the left footer is through! Scores level again! So the arm wrestle continues, and they're dead level.
And it's continuing on because of the intense way that every player on the ground is quite prepared to fight for the ball. And this one's Brett Hedison. He has to really throw himself there. He knows that he's got the pressure of Whitehead coming down upon him, but he was able to take it there and complete the goal. Very good work from Brett Heady.
So the skipper, Johnny Worsfold, comes off for the Eagles. Chris Lewis back onto the forward pocket. Akai's been a stumbling block down there today for the Blues. Been very good across half-back. Madden wins the tap. Kicked off the ground by Kurtafides. Evans does likewise. It's a race in 2. Whitehead against Matera. Matera paddles the ball along. Magnificent play. Daisy cut a pass and finds Lewis. McIntosh is on a lead. He's got Heady in the square. He's got a loose player, Metropolis, who's been very lively early in this final term. Wonderful play by Matera. Just had the presence of mind, the balance against Whitehead, the experience, just to win that crucial possession.
It's amazing how the balance of a one-on-one contest goes. I think Matera was involved being the hunter with Camporelli, but now it's changed around so he can dictate terms.
So Metropolis just inside 50. May have pushed it left, he has. So West Coast are in front by a point. 13-7-85, Carlton 12-12-84.
That was the margin at three-quarter time. Both teams have kicked 1 goal, 1 in this last quarter, which is 10 minutes old. Crowd chanting, Eagles. They've been beaten twice already at their home ground this year by Essendon and Footscray. Oh, he's taken too long, and the umpire's pinned him. Ange Christou, the umpire said, sorry, Ange.
See, Drew, once the umpire gives you the warning, you actually have to kick the ball straight away. There is no more time given. So umpire Coates, once he gave him the warning, Terry, he had to kick the ball straight away.
Inappropriate rule.
So umpire Coates throws it up on the edge of the goal square. Carlton desperate to get it out of here now. Dean, who's lifted in the second half, and the ball's out of bounds about 20 metres around from the behind post.
The rule was brought in because the football fans and media alike were very critical of the fact that fullbacks were taking so long to bring the ball back into play.
Not a problem, but in the spirit of the laws, Ange Christou was doing nothing wrong.
Oh, it's tight here again. Sexton leads in the race. Might have got a boot to it. Yes, out of bounds on the full. It was a centimetre inside the line, and by accident, Sexton has socketed out on the full. And let's have a look at this one. It's just about out. Oh, I don't know either. Not sure that is a correct decision. And McIntosh was very keen to give the ball away to Pike to shoot for goal. The umpire said, no, McIntosh, you were the closest there, you take it. And Pike is bleeding, so has to go off with the blood rule. So now Ashley McIntosh has plenty of time to look at this shot for goal. Now he's passed it in. I'm not sure that the replacement, Lyle, was on the ground, and so McIntosh will have to do it again.
Not only on the ground, the replacement's got to take up the position of the player who came off the ground.
That's right. So, Eagles by a point. A free kick to Ashley McIntosh, who has kicked 3 goals from limited opportunities. Oh, what a kick!
Now he's kicked it with his right foot.
Absolutely kidding. How can he kick it on his right foot like that?
Now, earlier in that third term, he also had a shot for goal and elected not to kick with his preferred kicking leg, being the left foot. And so he must have some thigh problem. He's missed a lot of footy. We can only suggest that, but to be hard up the boundary line on his preferred side and kick it with his non-preferred leg and pop it through, quite sensational. Well, it's deafening here at Subiaco. The Eagles are 7 points in front. Ratton punches the ball. Bradley runs onto it. Ground level, taken by Main Waring. Chance for Hetty, needs a kind bounce. Main Waring goes over the top. Hetty feeds the ball off to Turnbull. Chance for McIntosh. Silvani punches it over the line. They want deliberate, they won't get it.
David Parkin has reacted and brought Scott Camporelli back onto Peter Matera to try and curb that run, but 2 inspirational pieces of play, and that last one by Ashley McIntosh seems to have really lifted this stadium up towards the Eagles.
Madden wins the tap. Gives a chance for Sexton. Has time. Kicks back where we see Spalding. Takes the grab. Chance now onto the left boot. He's got Rice as a target. Also Kernahan in front. Oh, great mark, Guy McKenna. I wonder if he knows he's taken these marks. He's got a loose player in hard. He drops a sit-up. Plenty of time to recover to Simmons. The Eagles look to have a bit of run. Simmons' target is ball. Oh, good body work by Silvani.
11 3/4 minutes remaining in the game, and a 7-point lead to the Eagles. Sexton, a long kick to half forward. Spalding palms the ball down. Simmons is there for the Eagles. Jakovic peeling past. Short pass is good. Matera centre wing. And Camporelli's gone back onto Peter Matera. 21 disposals for Peter Matera. Ball has gone off for the Eagles and Wilson on. Peter Wilson, a last-minute inclusion for Waterman, has had just 2 possessions today. Hetty taken out of it and will take a free kick against Manton.
Looks like Manton might have a bit of the cramp as well.
I suppose the age in some of the Carlton legs might tell at the end of a really pressure cooker game on a hot day. Left footer this time by McIntosh. One out is Lewis. He goes to ground from McKay. McKay's left footer out of defence. Very high, no great distance. Hetty climbs high in the air. Matera first to recover. He had cramp just prior to 3/4 time. He dropped the ball in the tackle. Camporelli
goes short. He's looking for Bradley. Takes the mark. Got a chance to play on some rebound football for Carlton as needed. Long bomb for Spalding. Jakovic has been very good. Chance now for Williams at ground level. Playing on the forward line. Spalding gets the ball out wide. It went to Hannah. The ball comes back to Bond. He's got the pace. Back to Ratton. It's a long bomb. The goal square. Rice, he's got 2 to beat. He does it. Fantastic mark, Dean Rice. He had to beat 2. He kicked a goal in the first term. And this will get the Blues back to within a point. And we've still got just under 10 minutes to play. Bang. The Blues within a point at Subiaco, and we see Don Pike back onto the ground. Worsfold off. They're ringing the changes. He's got a loose player out wide, and Fraser Gehrig. Now he'll be off and running. He'll have to. He's going to come back on his left boot. He's got the pace. He's been caught. Great tackle, Kurtafidis. Mitchell White feeds it back to Banfield on 50. Centre of the ground, chance for Spalding. Could be a turnover for Carlton. Bradley. Rice. He's got it. He's going to kick a goal. The Blues by 10 points. Well, McKenna attacked the ball, got a shocking bounce.
Yeah, the error, I think, was he went to kick it off the ground. There's great work by Spalding. He calls the turnover. Bradley, again, looking just to threaten the goal square, goes towards him. Watch McKenna, tries to kick it, where really he should have just had his body right behind him, had a bounce up, could have hit him in the chest, on the knees, anything. You never take their eyes off, put your body behind it, because it gets behind you, you can pay a severe price, as Guy McKenna did on that occasion, with Dean Rice getting his 3rd goal.
Mick Malthouse there in the coach's box. I still wonder just how clear in the head Guy McKenna is. Carried off on a stretcher. Most unlike him not to try and smother the ball. So the Blues by 10 points.
Ratton gets a hand pass away, but it's intercepted by Main Waring. Out to Kemp, little left footer, up to half forward. Silvani works to the front but can't take the mark. Follows on and sees the ball out of play. Well, the West Coast Eagles have led at every change by 10 points, by 6 and by 1. But now Carlton lead by 10 points with under 6 minutes remaining. Madden's had no help in the ruck, and he's done it all day. So I'll take it back. The veteran playing his 307th is going all right at the end. In the centre square. Ratton applies a tackle. Hurried kick Banfield. Juggled mark. No mark. Metropolis. Heady paddles for Lewis. Sockers forward. McIntosh. Back to Chris Lewis. Borks floats a hand pass. Dean meets it and is taken out of it when he didn't have it. Lewis snaps for goal and kicks it. So 4 points the difference. The Eagles still in this.
Well, Peter Dean does everything right here. He attacks the ball, ensures that his body behind his McIntosh, a quick feed. Watch this kick in here. It comes in, or the handball in. Dean, everything behind the ball, but taken out with a good hip and shoulder there, allowing Lewis to be able to step back onto it and kick a very vital goal.
Yes, a good call, Terry. It was a great hip and shoulder that dispossessed Peter Dean. The Blues by 4 points. Madden wins the tap. Main Waring runs onto the ball. Whitehead is off the interchange bench. He's booted 2. Now Bond paddles the ball along in front. At ground level. Camporelli stacks on the mill.
This has been a great game for Scott Camporelli. Match to Matera. It's been an extreme learning curve for Scott Camporelli, and today it's been tremendous. He's met every challenge. Great contest between those two.
Madden wins the tap. Camporelli heads for the boundary line, and the fans on the fence, they thought he meant to put it over, and I think they're right.
Of course they're right.
Madden just thumps it back for a bit of respite.
What about the game by Harry Madden? We've got the centre hit out, so 20-8 in favour of Carlton. He's had 10 possessions. There's one ruckman on the side. He's been on the ball all day in the heat.
He's been absolutely marvellous. Here's Williams. Can he weave a bit of magic? Clappe trips the lights, fantastic. Gives it back to Madden. And that'll give him a few more extra seconds to get his breath.
4 minutes 27 seconds remaining here at Subiaco Oval, and Carlton try to stretch their winning break to 12 matches in a row, lead by 4 points. Lyle for the Eagles, a centering kick. Heady and Manton. Heady's hand pass missed the target. Well done by Glenn Manton. Paddles the ball out. Pike, Jakovic, Lyle, outside of his foot towards the boundary line. Matera, he's worked in this space beautifully all day. He was a bit slick for Simmons. He'll get it back from Simmons. Oh, he's a magician. He didn't quite get the support from his teammate then, and the ball is out of play on centre wing.
This game has been played at a level, Terry, that few games have been played at this year.
Definitely. I just hope people watching it on the television get the same impact that's occurring here, and it's still going.
Well, there was a bit going on here between Camporelli and Matera, and Matera's given away the free kick and can't believe it. Camporelli up short of the 50. Here's Greg Williams. Goes for the goal. Offline, a behind. So it's a 3-point game, the Blues in front.
She does that.
Diesel. He's had 19 possessions. Hasn't kicked a goal today. So Carlton by 5 points. Banfield's loose. So he has to kick over the man on the mark. Madden against Turnbull. He'll punch from behind. Clappe with quick hands to Camporelli, who's been very good today. A classic duel. Back to Clappe. Here's a chance. Bond running with a fly. The ball is quick. He's got it. Well, this youngster has got a chance to maybe bury the West Coast Eagles. Although there's still 3 minutes to go. He's missed. And just rushed it a bit too, Terry, I felt.
Yeah, he had, going into the game, he had 1 goal, 10 behinds to his score tally, and hasn't really taken hold of the opportunities throughout the year. It was never a more important shot than that one, I would suggest.
He looked a bit concerned going back. He was looking to pass the ball off, maybe put the ball down, pull up the socks. So the Eagles still with a chance. Spalding's got 2 to beat and does it well. He's off. Inside 50. He's got a loose player, Williams. Simmons, what a mark. And what a game. What a contest. Simmons. 2.5 minutes left in the game. Goes short. He finds Gehrig. To the wing. Kernahan. Struggled most of the day. He's held Hannah. Not paid.
Well, with 6 points the difference, a draw is not out of the question here. We've had 3 draws this season already. Wouldn't be a bad result for this game of football, would it? Hannah had to concede ground. Back to Manton. He's gone. He's lost it. Oh, Silvani did all right. Bradley dropped it. Lyle tackling fierce. And Manton got the ball over the boundary line for a throw-in with 2 minutes remaining here at Subiaco Oval.
He's done some desperate things today, Manton. You know, not the most talented player, but he's got a big heart.
He's certainly a valuable player to the squad. I think he's been good. He can come on, he can play in the forward line or in the back line. Very good. Drew, you just mentioned a draw. I think what we're looking for here is that perhaps we should be able to have that extra time at the end of a draw like this, because this is the sort of atmosphere and pressure that finals will have.
So it was out of bounds, but it wasn't a throw-in. A free to Carlton. It goes to Clappe, and on the run, Clappe goes for the goal. And a point's handy in the last 2 minutes. The Blues lead by 7 points.
Well, he would have liked to have drilled that against his old side. I think there might have been a few high fives. McKenna brings the ball back. They need time now. Playing on quickly is Gehrig. They need 2 scoring shots back to Gehrig. Wilson's back on the ground. Great mark.
Very good
Manton.
mark.
Been strong in this last terms, done some courageous things. Back to Hannah, back to Manton. A few seconds tick away. Slowing things down. No hurry now for the Blues. 98 to 105. The Blues in front. Madden. Couldn't get his hand to it. Main Waring. Kicks a long bomb back. Silvani can't take the mark. Heading at ground level. Feeds it off. Here's Matera. He'll kick a goal. He has. One point the difference. Can you believe it, Drew?
Well, that may be just how vital that point by Clappe was, but there's time left for the Eagles to get another goal and win the game.
This is incredible stuff, that Peter Materia still has this speed, this leg speed at the end of what's been a tremendous game of football. He suffered cramp early late in the third quarter, right back there.
Well, the crowd's not to know. The ground clock shows 31 minutes gone in this last quarter, and we're playing 20-minute quarters plus time on. We can say there's under a minute left here, and a goal can snatch it yet for the Eagles. Williams in the middle, goes to ground. It was Bond. Ratton at ground level, gets himself over the ball, and we'll have a ball up, and the clock ticks the whole time. With 1 point the margin, Carlton 105, the Eagles 104. Stoic effort by Madden. It goes Carlton's way. Bradley Roves, the ball inside the 50. Time running out for the Eagles. And out of bounds at the moment will do the Blues. The clock stops on 20 seconds to go. It's at Carlton's end and they lead by a point.
Big Harry Madden was tremendous there. As others start to slow down, you get any short of Big Harry and a great knockout.
The tap down comes to Lyle. He's robbed by Ratton. A snap across the front of goal. McKenna with Rice. McKenna to the line. 7 seconds left as we have another boundary throw in, and Carlton in attack are going to win it.
Terry, that was a great knock by Justin Madden.
Just cleared the area perfectly, allowed them to run onto it.
Boundary throw in. Kernahan wins it. Comes to Simmons. He juggles the ball, gets away from Rice. The kick up the centre wing. Siren! The Blues have won it by a point. So Carlton have now won 12 straight. What a game here at Subiaco Oval, and Adelaide viewers will take news. Justin Madden with a hug there for Peter Dean, and Kernahan with Bond. Mixed cheering and booing. Plenty of Carlton fans are over here. Broad grins for the Carlton players, but Eagles fans aren't happy with the result, the umpires and everything else that's gone on here. What a game. Carlton by a point.